Hi, this is Piero Giorgio, the author of Survive the Economic Collapse. Today, I would like to talk to you about a great book I've just read, Stars Reach by John Michael Greer. Now, John Michael Greer may be known to you. He has written a lot of books and holds a very, very nice blog which covers very much environmental issues and issues generally going towards why we're going to collapse. So an author that I've been reading a lot. Now, it's not common that I read novels because I don't have time, because as I need to learn skills and prepare myself for what I believe is going to be an economic collapse of the global civilization. However, once in a while I like a novel, and I was very happy to read The Stars Reach because it's one of the few novels that covers the world after the economic collapse. Now, we're not talking about Mad Max, not during or just after. We're talking many, many years after. In this case, the novel is set 400 years after the economic collapse. And this is very interesting because it shows that John Michael Greer not only understands very well what is going to happen to us when our society will not be able to maintain such complex infrastructures that enable us to have big cities. So he's very much in sync with what James Howard's counselor writes. Also, he is projecting in the far future how societies are going to rebuild. In fact, I did interview John Michael Greer for a future project of mine a few years back on how he believes societies will restart and what kind of structures. And his thoughts are extremely out of the box, and I think very, very smart and very accurate. Because the world in 400 years is going to be completely different from what we know today in terms of culture, in terms of religion, in terms of social structures, in terms of geography as well. In fact, he's taking into account the effects not only of our pollution, not only of our collapse, but also of massive climate changes. And I think he does that in a very smart and very insightful way. And it's not the end of humanity. It's not the end of civilization. It's just a massive change. And of course, in the world he describes, there's only about 5% of today's population which exists. So I think that makes sense as well in terms of numbers. So I don't want to give you spoilers, but I'd like to just give you some ideas of what this novel is about. Well, this novel is set in the country of Meriga, which is in North America, of course. Language has evolved, names of places have changed. The places where big cities used to be are now mines, are ruins, where a special guild, the ruin men, are digging to recover metals and sometimes artifacts of our old world, of our civilization. And of course, he describes in this country, this nation, which is a sort of presidential kingdom, which is set around the Great Lakes, because there are canals, because you can actually still have communication. Very feudal kind of structure with peasant classes, free workers, small manufacturing, but very small. Of course, warrior classes, political classes, the nobles, which are part of the Congress, and of course the president, which is a mother to daughter institution, and very smart. And of course, there's a new state religion, and the religion of today, which are called the old religions, are almost disappeared, certainly in that country. And of course, except Islam, which is the religion of most of Europe. But anyway, we digress. What's interesting is that we have the hero of the story is a ruin man, is an apprentice first, and then he becomes a master who finds the artifact that leads to a mythical place called Stars Reach. And this mythical place is supposed to be the place where humans in the old world have managed to communicate with the stars and actually had communication with some alien species. So of course that is the myth, and we will discover if that is true, if that is real, if that place exists. And of course, through the novel, the changes that this discovery could bring to the world and to that society. And it's not necessarily the changes you think. So it's very, very interesting novel. And first of all, it's extremely well written, besides the story being fascinating. And actually, I would say that the first, maybe it's because I'm not English mother tongue, but the first half of the book was a bit long for me to get into. It was interesting, but it took me time to get into. The second half of the book, I couldn't stop the book. I couldn't leave the book for sleeping or eating. It's just fantastically well written, and it just drags you in. There's a lot of sub twists and little twists, and the story, you never know where the story is going. There's a lot of, I think, very well developed characters, so that changes from a lot of novels. And I think it is something like you can feel that John Michael Greer in his mind is like a Tolkien. He has developed a universe of what the world could be in 400 years from now. And of course, you can feel from little details that he has really thought, as I mentioned, Europe is Arab. And the only place where white men still exist, for example, is Russia. In North America, everybody is mestizo. Everybody is a mixed race. Everybody is brown because of the 400 years of mixing between the black, the Mexicans, and the whites, of course. So everybody is kind of pale or dark gray or dark brown. Makes sense. There is the Empire of Mexico again. There is the New England is a separated country with a lot of sailors and tradesmen, and Virginia is a land of pirates and warriors that is fiercely independent. Very interesting, and also to learn what's happening to the west coast, which are wastelands that no one can go. And of course, there's a lot of, as I said, pollution from today's world. So nuclear plants, or the ruins of nuclear plants, can be very dangerous for people who reach into them. And so all of that plays into a very, very smartly done universe. And this is a very good book. So about, almost 400 pages, 360 pages, $19.99. So it's very affordable. This is a great book. It's a book that also you can help if you prepare for the difficult futures and difficult times ahead. Fiction is a good way to get people to think. So it's not only a book that you might want to read, but it's a book that you want to give or lend to or to your friends or to your family, to say, hey, read this book. What do you think about it? And people will think, and they will say, well, that's 400 years in the future. It's fiction, so there's no emotional link to that. You know, when you read a book set in the future and it talks about the destruction of today's country and lifestyle, you don't feel aggressed. You don't feel that you have a stake in it, because it's fiction and because it's far away. It's a very smart way, though, to make you think. So I would really encourage you to read John Michael Greer's Star Reach, and to check out his website, which is called the Archdruid Report, if I'm correct. Yes, the Archdruid Report. Anyway, you Google John Michael Greer and you find everything about him. He's a very, very nice and kind person as well. And he writes fantastically well. He's a very, very good author. So anyway, I encourage you to read this book, Stars Reach, John Michael Greer, and get ready, because the future is not going to be easy, especially the transition. Take care.